Greetings, Twitter. It is good to see you. For those of you that may or may not have been aware, I did a live stream last night. It was kind of late when I did it, but I thought in retrospect it would be a good idea for me to come on again right now and kind of give a brief review, as it were. It's a subject that is still being talked about today. The topic of discussion last night was the concept of national divorce. National divorce is something that an ideology that has been pushed and promoted by a certain representative of the U.S. House, namely Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. Her idea is to split the U.S. into red states, which are Republican, and blue states, which are Democrat, and separate the riff from the raff, as it were, so that, the red states can live in harmony with each other and not have to deal with the political beliefs of the other side of the aisle, which, and the same thing could be said, the blue states for the conservatives, as it were. Now, I did a comparison on that, and because the thing was, when I first heard of this particular concept, it kind of rang a bell with me as far as American history, and I did a little looking into certain things, and I did a comparison, basically, of this natural divorce concept to something similar in our American history, which was the secession of it was 7 states pre-Civil War. This was right on the cusp of the Civil War. 7 states opted to secede from the Union because they couldn't agree on one irreconcilable difference, which was slavery. And they seceded, and they proceeded. There was a lot of tension between these Confederate states, because they called themselves the Confederacy, and the actual remaining states, which were the Union, or the United States. And basically, it ended up boiling over to a war amongst these two divisions, as it were. And reading a brief definition of the issues that occurred in those times, this we're talking about 1861, 1865. Basically, there's not much difference between what this representative is proposing and what occurred in our history. I mean, there was a mythology called the Lost Cause, or Lost Cause of the Confederacy. Basically, the Confederates were saying this was a battle over, or this was a cause. Our cause for this division was heroic, was just. There was no malevolence involved, And this is kind of the same line of thinking that Marjorie Taylor Greene is entertaining with this concept of national divorce. She's saying, okay, well, we're just going to split the states. We're going to live in harmony. Nothing's going to come of it. We just want to be able to, separate and live together with those of us that share the same ideals, same political beliefs. That's how, in part, the secession started back in 1861. Okay, now it's concerning that she's proposing this because, I mean, this could very well play out. History repeating itself. You got to keep in mind, in our day and age right now, we have multiple issues that would be irreconcilable. You have immigration, abortion, LGBTQ. That's just to start a few. So any one of these could be the trigger sending us into a civil war. I mean, we already have evidence of civil unrest in our society today. we reflect back on the insurrection or the attack on the state capitol on January 6th of 2021. Nothing's more evident than that. People busting into the Capitol trying to stop the election, as it were. That's about as close to a civil war as we've gotten. Do we want to go even further beyond that, an insurrection like that, and get to the point where we actually do have a civil war? If we get to that part today, our country would be in so much chaos. Why? Because you have everybody and their grandmas I'm talking immeasurable numbers of individual citizens have their own arms, their own guns. So if a civil war or civil unrest of that magnitude were to break out, our country would be in total shambles and chaos. Do we want to get ourselves as a nation to that point? Do we want to de-evolve from the point where we're at now to the point where we were over 100, 150, 200 years ago? It's a question we need to ask ourselves, basically, and that's the purpose of me trying to talk to you guys about this again. I wanted to review it because I know that, as I said, I did the live stream late last night, and I figured, reflecting, I was like, okay, I don't think many people are going to see it, but I wanted to take the time right now to review over it again, and I kind of want to invite you guys to look at that live stream. It's recorded here on my Twitter, and you'll see the slide presentation that I used, where I show the definition of the Confederacy. Everything I picked up off the web. I even show the fact that what she is suggesting, Representative Green, is illegal. There was laws that were put into effect in 1948, I think it was, or 1950, in that time frame, that prevents people from even mentioning this or from even attempting to do it. And I would surmise that maybe part of the reason these laws were put into play was to avoid a repeat of what our ancestors set out and accomplished back in 1864. Like I said, do we want to devolve to that time frame? I don't think we do. I think it's up to us as Americans today to basically, we have to hold our politicians, our elected officials accountable. I said this last night, and that was that I believe we need to hold them accountable on 3 or 4 different levels. We need to hold them accountable ethically, morally, socially, just to start, all right, and legally. It's not a matter now of holding them, accountable politically, because politically right now, our parties are so diversely opposite now, and they're so immensely divided that political beliefs aside, or not aside, but political beliefs themselves, you really can't hold them accountable to it, because you would have to hold them accountable by your party standards. We need to hold them accountable in a impartial manner, and to do that, we need to look at whether they're acting ethically, whether they're acting morally correct, whether they're acting socially correct, legally correct. And I think as American citizens, we need to do that going forward. It's not a matter of falling in line with your political party now. That's not the case. The case is making sure that what our elected officials are doing, what they're doing is in line with what humanity believes, with what, and as Americans, we believe they should be doing. There's a lot of things that can be done. They're not done because, unfortunately, we're all blinded by our political beliefs to see the reality before our faces. And I think that now is the time that we need to have a change of conscience, and we need to look at things from outside perspective. That's basically what I wanted to share, kind of review with respect to the national divorce. It's something that I would suggest, and I would really tell Representative Green that you need to reconsider. You need to reconsider because, number one, you're putting your career on the line by even talking about this over the social media. The fact of the matter is you need to read Section 18, Chapter 115 of federal law, federal statute. And that'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. The law is there. You just need to read it. Number two, it's not for the benefit of our country. And we do not want to de-evolve, as it were. And it doesn't make any sense to. The theory you're proposing has been done. It was done in 1865. It failed. To do it again, you're only setting our country up for total chaos. I would venture to challenge all our other representatives in the House to consider what she's talking about. Make her see that what she's proposing is totally not correct for our generation. There's a lot of representatives that I've heard on the news that are against what she's talking about, and I think these representatives need to stand their ground when it comes to dealing with Marjorie Taylor Greene. That's the only way that we're going to get the point across that what she's proposing is downright chaotic. It's what it is. It's chaotic. It's crazy. It's illegal. Other than that, we as American citizens have to hold our elected officials accountable. It's evident that the tension and the division in our federal government is getting totally out of hand. You've got the U.S. House trying to impeach people for things that they're not responsible for. And the Constitution of the United States proves that beyond a reasonable doubt. It's evident through history that these particular individuals or this particular positions in the administration have time and time again, whether the administration has been Republican, whether the administration has been Democratic, independent, liberal, they've tried to change certain laws, and they've gotten shot down and blocked. And it's always been with the same argument. These individuals do not have the power to change or alter or pass federal laws. If it is clearly evident between the different political parties that has occurred, what makes you think holding these individuals responsible that are otherwise already by the courts been told they're not responsible? How do you go about making them responsible? It makes no sense. It doesn't. That's a topic for another day, and I'll get with that later. In the meantime, I'll bid you all a good evening, and I will see you all again next time I decide to live stream. I'm going to try to start live streaming more. I've been kind of really busy with personal things and business and stuff, but I'm going to try to get on here a lot more frequently and with more interesting topics, hopefully, unless the craziness continues. Have a good evening. Have a good day.